Approach, meaning a way of doing something. For example, we need a new approach to solve this problem. Consider, meaning to think carefully about something. For example, I will consider your advice. Maintain, meaning to keep something in good condition or continue it. For example, he maintains a positive attitude. Concern, meaning worry or care about something. For example, your health is my main concern. Opportunity, meaning arrow dash a chance to do something. For example, this job is a great opportunity for me. Common, meaning usual, normal, or happening often. For example, it's common to make mistakes while learning. Provide, meaning to give or supply something. For example, the teacher provided extra notes. Achieve, meaning to succeed in reaching a goal. For example, he achieved his goals. Improve, meaning to make better. For example, I want to improve my English. Experience, meaning knowledge or skill gained from practice or events. For example, I have experience in teaching. Opinion, meaning what you think or believe about something. For example, in my opinion, this is the best choice. Decision, meaning a choice made after thinking. For example, he made a quick decision. Important, meaning having great value or meaning. For example, family is important in life. Challenge, meaning something difficult that needs effort. For example, learning English is a big challenge. Situation, meaning the condition or state of something at a time. For example, the situation is under control. Friendship, meaning the connection between people or things. For example, they have a strong friendship. Support, meaning help or encouragement. For example, my friend always supports me. Result, meaning the outcome of something. For example, the result was surprising. Reason, meaning why something happens or why you do something. For example, what's the reason for your delay? Confident, meaning sure of yourself, having belief in your ability. For example, he is confident about his speech. Accountant, meaning a person whose job is to keep or check financial accounts. For example, my brother is an accountant at an international bank. Comprehensive, meaning complete, covering all. For example, he gave a comprehensive explanation. Public servants, meaning government employees. For example, teachers and police officers are public servants. Mayhem, meaning a situation of chaos, disorder, or violent confusion. For example, the crowd created mayhem after the match. Resilience, meaning ability to recover quickly. For example, children often show great resilience after hardship. Doomsday, meaning why the end of the world, final judgment. For example, some people fear doomsday predictions. Exemplified, meaning shown as an example. For example, he exemplified honesty through his actions. Subcontinent, meaning large part of a continent like South Asia. For example, Bangladesh is part of the Asian subcontinent. Bruise, meaning a dark skin mark from injury. For example, he had a bruise on his arm after falling. Obstetrician, meaning a doctor specializing in childbirth. For example, the woman visited an obstetrician during her pregnancy. Batter, meaning to hit repeatedly. For example, the storm battered the coastline. Negligent, meaning careless, not paying attention. For example, the driver was negligent and caused an accident. Administrative system, meaning rules and structure for managing an organization or state. For example, the country improved its administrative system. Reinstatement, meaning returning to a previous position. For example, the employee fought for reinstatement after being fired. Precedent, meaning an earlier event serving as an example. For example, the judge followed the legal precedent. Widespread, meaning found everywhere, common. For example, the disease caused widespread fear. Exemplary, meaning outstanding, serving as a model. For example, he received an award for his exemplary work. Exemptions, meaning freed from rules or duties. For example, students get tax exemptions on books. Embezzle, meaning to steal money from one's work. For example, the manager was jailed for embezzling company funds. Withdrawal, meaning taking out money, troops, etc. For example, he made a cash withdrawal from the bank. Comprehension, meaning the ability to understand something. For example, his comprehension of the lesson was impressive. Delighted, meaning very happy or pleased. For example, he was delighted to receive the award. Disagreement, meaning a situation in which people have different opinions. For example, there was a disagreement between the two friends. Passion, meaning strong love or deep interest. For example, she has a passion for painting. Intensive, meaning involving a lot of effort, energy, or focus in a short time. For example, he joined an intensive English course to improve quickly. Distribute, meaning to give out or share something to others. For example, the teacher distributed the books to all the students. Displease, meaning to make someone feel unhappy or annoyed. For example, their rude behavior displeased their father. Oppressive, meaning cruel, unfair, or causing discomfort. For example, the hot weather was oppressive. Incompetent, meaning not having the necessary skills or ability to do something. For example, the manager was fired for being incompetent. Offensive, meaning causing hurt, anger, or disrespect. For example, his comments were offensive to many people. Incomprehension, meaning a lack of understanding. For example, he looked at me in total incomprehension. Enroll, meaning to officially join a school, course, or program. For example, I decided to enroll in a computer class. Reflection, meaning serious thought or consideration. For example, after much reflection, he made the decision. Valuation, meaning an estimate of something's worth or value. For example, the valuation of the house was higher than expected. Depth, meaning the distance from the top to the bottom. For example, the lake has a depth of 20 meters. Insistence, meaning the act of demanding something firmly. For example, his insistence on honesty impressed everyone. Coxswain, meaning the person who steers a boat, especially in rowing, and directs the crew. For example, the coxswain motivated the rowers to increase their speed during the final race.